Good morning, fam, and welcome back to The Final Cut, your daily pulse in horror, your sharpest source for everything horror, every weekday. I'm your host, Travis, and today's episode is crawling with creepy industry updates, weird studio demands, and one very giant spider that refuses to die. Let's dive in to today's top stories. First up, 25 years later, and Blade still slaps. But did you know the original film almost featured vampires exploding into shit? Yeah. In a resurfaced interview, director Stephen Norrington recalled a studio exec's wild suggestion during post. Important vampires should explode into diamonds, and low-level ones into poop. Literally poop. The same executive also wanted to cut the now iconic blood rave scene. Norrington said, hell no, threw a fit and eventually won that battle. Blade released as we know it, a brutal, slick, R-rated action horror classic that helped shape modern comic book cinema. Norrington never directed another film after The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen in 2003, but honestly, surviving that kind of studio meddling deserves an Oscar by itself. What's the wildest studio note you've ever heard that someone made into or got cut from a film? Let me know what that answer would be in the comments ahead. Next up, we keep the Eggers news just rolling and rolling. Another Werwulf update. Robert Eggers, of course, like we mentioned yesterday, is back, and now he's also bringing Willem Dafoe with him. Again, the two are reuniting for Werwulf, Eggers' next feature at Focus Features, set to release Christmas Day 2026. As mentioned yesterday, Aaron Taylor Johnson is confirmed, Lily Rose Depp is in talks, and the plot details are, for now, hush-hush. But with a title like Werwulf, we're obviously in for some hairy, lycanthropic horror. Eggers is writing with his Northman co-writer Sejong, and Dafoe continues his run as Eggers' muse after The Lighthouse, The Northman, and the upcoming, and also recently released, Nosferatu. Focus is finally backing the film with working title and Chris Columbus's maiden voyage also producing. Expect something mythical, brutal, and deeply weird, just like how we like it. My question for you guys is Eggers the horror auteur of our generation, or are you starting to feel his style is wearing thin? Let me know what your answer would be in the comments ahead. And finally, big fan of this next story because it's got Midwestern flavor all over it. Big shout out to the people up in Wisconsin on this one. Just when you thought it was safe to go back to Wisconsin, the giant spider invasion is coming back. And this time, it's campier, funnier, and leggier. Bill Rebane's 1975 cult classic, famous for using a VW Beetle covered in fur as its giant spider, is getting a reboot with 20 to 25 minutes of new footage. Actor-writer Dan Davies is leading the charge alongside Rebane, playing a small-town newscaster, anchoring WSOS TV, reporting on the chaos as spiders take over the North Woods. They're shooting new footage to look like it was filmed in 1975, aiming for period accuracy while filling in story gaps the original left behind. A few original cast members will even make cameos. Rebane, now 88, calls it a loving homage. Davies just calls it leggier. Here's my question. What's your favorite so bad it's so good horror film that deserves this kind of revival treatment? Give me the titles so I can watch them if I haven't already seen them in the comments ahead. Today's take. Studios often forget that horror isn't just marketable, it's memory making. The blood, rave, and blade with Ronnie Size music in the background, the strange rhythms of Eggers films, the chicken wire spider and Rebane's cult classic, they endure because they dare to be different. Horror that works doesn't always make sense on the whiteboard. It just works. If you're listening to today's episode on Spotify, make sure you answer today's Spotify poll question. That's it for today's episode of The Final Cut, your daily post in horror. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe wherever you get your horror news fix. Drop your thoughts in the comments, vote in the Spotify poll, and follow us at HMUNCUT and at Travis Nyquil with an extra L at the end on all platforms. For exclusive content, check out our Patreon. Just search Horror Movies Uncut. Keep supporting indie horror. I promise I'll have some stuff up on there this weekend. And until next time, next Monday, you guys know the drill. Have a safe weekend. All weekend long, though. Keep the lights on.